Hey there, No DQ Galaxy. Welcome to episode number 3 of What's NXT. I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne. I'm joined, of course, by the General, Jerry Slaughter. And this week is a week of NXT that we have been looking so forward to because of the main event.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We've been waiting 2 long weeks. And before we get into it, though, before we get into it, I know you want to broach there. We have 30 minutes worth of NXT. Well, actually, like 40 minutes worth of NXT before the main event. But before we even get to NXT, there's a couple of things that happened in WWE on television over the last couple of days that I want to mention. That I don't think anybody has mentioned of the wrestling podcasts and the videos that I've watched. I don't believe anybody has mentioned at least one of them. And that is where Paul Heyman was doing a promo on Raw for Brock Lesnar, essentially saying that Brock Lesnar is home and he is where he will be until the crown jewel, and he is enjoying his wonderful Brock Lesnar life.
Yep.
But somewhere in the program, or in the promo, Paul Heyman starts saying that he is going to tell you what's going to happen as if it was predetermined. And he drops that no word. He said the word predetermined. And it was so weird to hear Corey Graves come over his microphone and talk over Paul Heyman during a promo, because that's something that they just don't do.
That's very taboo.
It's hard to notice that they don't do it, other than the fact that they don't do it. So when they do, you notice. And I backed that up immediately. And I was like, why did that happen? And I noticed that Paul Heyman had said the word predetermined. And I thought that was very interesting, because of course they have a 7-second or 10 or 12 or 15. I don't know what the delay is, but it was long enough for Vince McMahon to get into the mic for the director and say, hey, we got to do something to cover up Paul Heyman saying that word. And they got Corey Graves just in time to say, is Brock Lesnar even here tonight? And I believe Wrestle Talk mentioned that he said that, and they were like, why did he say that? And I'm telling you, he said that because Paul Heyman said the word predetermined. And why is this important enough to bring up on an NXT broadcast? Well, I just thought it was interesting because they cut that out of his promo as he said it, or just after he said it. Paul Heyman must not only be getting not freelance, but the freedom to write his own promos, but they are not getting double checked, at least not by Vince McMahon. Somebody missed him saying the word predetermined, and then there's gonna. I wonder if we're gonna see any backlash from that.
It would shock me at all.
Because that's, if you really think about it, even as bad as them doing some of the charity work that they present to you in the ring from superstars that are supposed to be heels and things like that, you know, that kind of breaks kayfabe. But to actually say the word predetermined, that's worse than dropping probably an S-bomb. Probably not as bad as an F-bomb. Why am I saying shit or fuck?
Yes.
If somebody accidentally said shit, they can bleep it out or mute it out. They can do the same with fuck. But they can't deliberately mute out Paul Heyman saying a word because you can see him say it. So they can't obviously censor the word predetermined, but man, they tried their best to censor the word predetermined.
Oh yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention happened on SmackDown. It was during the main event, which was weird because the Paul Heyman part was right before the main event. But this was during the main event of Randy Orton versus Big Show for the slot in the World Cup, which is dumb, and I'm not going to get into why the World Cup is dumb. But after the spot where the Big Show takes a draping DDT over the top rope, they do a split screen or a box-in-box replay of the draping DDT. And during that replay, you can hear Shane McMahon, I guess his pipe feed to the commentators somehow got put on live TV. And you can hear him for a couple of seconds trying to instruct the commentators on, I think he said something about how they were going to react or respond to something. But I didn't get all of it. I swear I backed this up 10 or 12 times, and that's not even That's literal.
That's not exaggeration.
Like, that's not exaggeration. I backed it up 10 or 12 times because at first I wasn't sure who said it, and then you can tell it's Shane McMahon, because who else would it be that sounds like Shane McMahon? Shane McMahon makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I backed it up several times trying to figure out what he was saying, and it's really difficult because you can hear Corey Graves talking at the same time, plus all the audience and background noise. I just thought that was interesting because it shows that Shane McMahon, even though we're not seeing him on SmackDown Live in an on-camera role as the, not the general manager, the commissioner.
Still very prominent in
SmackDown.
the backstage area.
Yeah, that spot we saw several months ago where Roman Reigns went back and confronted Vince McMahon about Brock Lesnar, where Vince and Shane are sitting gorilla position. That seems to be not kayfabe. That is real. That is what they do at Raw and SmackDown, is sit there and I guess run the show. So I just thought that was interesting as well. I thought both of those were very newsworthy, and so far I haven't heard anybody comment on that. Mm-hmm. Now, what's NXT, you say?
What's NXT?
This is what's NXT. This week we were practically drooling, waiting on the main event.
Pins and needles.
Pins and needles.
Pins and needles.
And let me just say now, it really didn't disappoint.
No,
really didn't disappoint. But we will get into that. That is, of course, the main event. So let's start out at the beginning of the card. We had Tommaso Ciampa, the NXT champion, come out to the ring for a promo. Again, highlighting his new music. He promotes his own music, saying it is not only is he the best sports entertainer,
yeah,
but he has the best music now.
Yes.
What did you think about Ciampa's promo?
Well, I thought it was really interesting because naturally he started talking about the music, which very reminiscent of Taz's old stuff, and I always loved the whole flatline thing right there. And he's playing his whole heel thing to the hilt. He's doing a beautiful job, I think, as the champion. Pretty much, he knows how to carry the title, not just in the physical sense, but the mentality. He knows what to say to draw heat without coming off like too overly cheesy or anything,
or too weak, or too cowardly. It's like he's the opposite side of the heel spectrum from, let's say, the Miz. The Miz is great on the mic as a cowardly heel.
Yeah. Whereas Ciampa is just so delusional at this point, and but he's also got his thing where he talks to the belt, and the belt talks to him. And
well, here's the thing: as delusional as Ciampa may seem, he can
backs it up. That's the best part about that's the best heel to me.
He cannot absolutely. Okay, the best part about this for him being the heel character is that he can absolutely not back it up in like a fight. Like, fight breaks out in the middle of a promo or anything where, it's so weird. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when wrestlers get hit with punches, it completely obliterates them? Like, outside of the ring bell, a punch to the face is really bad. Like, it'll take them out for a while. Like, it's weird like that. Like, you get attacked in the backstage area with stuff that you would see in 3% of your match, and you'd still come back in the match. But this lays you out. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh yeah, like somebody gets slapped in a backstage area. You think their jaws completely dislocated and they're laying laying on the floor.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can take 5 super kicks to the face in the middle of a match and
still kick out.
And you can still kick out.
So I just thought that was weird. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that it's almost like a weird video game handicapped. Like the amount of damage you take and your resiliency is drastically different whether you're in a match where from bell to bell or you're outside of a match.
Yeah.
Or if you're in a match bell to bell but you're not one of the participants. Like, notice anybody that's just hanging out watching the match in somebody's corner, they get taken out pretty easily when it's like, come on, you're a wrestler, man. So anyway, in that kind of situation where it's not bell to bell, Ciampa is like, he's almost a delusional cowardly heel. Like, he should be cowardly, but he just takes it, and he always looks weak. But then he gets into the match, and he always looks amazing in the match.
Oh yeah. He once that bell hits, he's completely in there, switch and hold, grappling, everything. He's like locked in. He's ready to keep his title, and yeah, he's one of those ones like the bell just rings and he's on. So it's great.
I think on the mic he is one that he's pretty straight to the point.
Yeah.
He says a lot of things that he knows the crowd doesn't want to hear.
Which is the truth. The crowd hates hearing the truth.
Well, there's a difference between the truth and verbally spinning the truth in a way that makes you look good.
Yeah.
And the other person look bad regardless of how the truth actually came out.
Poetic license.
Yeah, he's good at poetic license to get himself booed. In this case, he's talking about Velveteen Dream. Because Velveteen Dream has been very vocal about the only person he thinks that took out Aleister Black is Ciampa. And Ciampa insists that Velveteen Dream is just trying to cut in on his spotlight because he's the champ. And so this brings out Velveteen Dream.
And yeah, Velveteen Dream naturally comes out there and calls out Ciampa, so pretty much saying that he's more or less ducking him. But he's actually like also still accusing him, while still not accusing him of being Aleister Black's assailant. But Ciampa in return is just saying that he's accusing him because just to get into Ciampa's spotlight, as if Velveteen Dream can't do it on his own. But he also, Ciampa in his own way, starts talking to the belt. They start conversing.
Yeah.
And they both agree that Velveteen Dream is not tough enough to be in a ring with Ciampa, and the crowd just ate that up.
Yeah, that's the difference between a smart crowd and your generic, let's say, big event WWE show.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a place like Chicago, people might get that joke. But I thought that was a good joke.
That was pretty much a Yo Mama joke. It had everybody in the crowd like, oh. No.
Well, Velveteen Dream basically confirmed like part of Ciampa's accusation.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically came out to challenge for the NXT title.
Yep.
And Ciampa is saying that he's trying to steal his spotlight. I'm like, well, maybe because he says that Velveteen doesn't really believe that Ciampa did it.
Yeah.
He's just saying that Ciampa did it because he wants to move in on the spotlight. Well, he wants to move in on the title, and I'm not really sure whether he believes that Ciampa did it or not. At this point, I don't think it matters. We're heading into this feud anyway.
Yes.
And hopefully it turns into a really great match.
It looks like it will.
I wonder if it's going to go down at War Games or if it's going to go down on NXT in about a month. And then at War Games, we're going to see the return of Aleister Black for the NXT title.
That's also one thing. That's something to ponder right there, because NXT is just notorious for putting these main event matches that you could usually wait, or have to pay mad money for in some way, shape, or form. But they'll actually build it up for about 2 weeks to a point where it's at that boiling point. And they'll just put it like straight up on like an hour of television, like we had with the triple threat match we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And they'll put on a 5-star match like it's nothing.
Yeah, and they just give it away on weekly television because that's all they've got for 3 months or 4 months at a time.
Yep.
And I enjoy it. It gives you a reason to watch the show on a weekly basis, and they pretty much consistently give you at least one match in an hour's time per week that gives you a reason to watch.
Oh yeah, they've gotten that down to a science, and that's what we were talking about this last time, was the fact that their booking that they do on these shows is just brilliant. Like the women's match, I think that kicked off last week, was it?
Yes.
Yes, LeRae versus Evans. Beautiful match, and there wasn't really a lot of build up to it, but it was just enough that you're like, oh man, I can see this on a pay-per-view card, or oh man, this could even headline Evolution when they were going to be doing that, or close to it, since we already have the main event.
It could be on Evolution.
It could be on Evolution.
Headline.
Okay.
If those two worked their way up by the time they did, I'm sure they could put on a match that would have headline Evolution.
Oh yeah.
That one in particular, it would be definitely worthy of Evolution.
Yeah. But, yeah, from there...
Well, speaking of the women's division.
Speaking
of the women's division.
I was about to say...
In amongst Velveteen Dream and Ciampa talking to the title...
This threw me a little bit.
Nikki Cross comes out. Nikki Cross... And for some reason, the crowd immediately starts chanting for a triple threat. And like, there's no way that they're going to do that. And they put an exclamation point on that because in amongst Nikki Cross's crazy babble, she ends up popping Velveteen Dream in the mouth, and he looks like he's about to slap a bitch.
Yes.
And then he realizes that it's a woman and he's a man, and this is TV, and he cools it.
The fringe was about to fly because he's wearing one of the coolest fringe jackets I think I've seen in a very long time. It was very, what you said, Macho Man-esque.
And Ciampa was getting ready to use his greatest weapon, the microphone, and she smacks it out of his hand onto the floor. And then she, it's more crazy Nikki Cross speak, and she gets down on the mat and talks into the microphone that's laying on the mat and says that she knows what Ciampa did, I think, is kind of like what...
Even before that, the crowd started chanting, Nikki knows a secret.
Yeah, Nikki knows a secret chant. You gotta love the NXT crowd.
I love them.
Somebody comes up with a good chant and yells it loud enough, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, that's the one, and everybody's going to chant it with you. Because it only takes one person to be heard in the entire arena, I believe. At least in half of it.
Well, Full Sail's good about that, because it's got that almost like the bingo halls that ECW and everybody used to operate out of. You actually hear just one person chant something, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. We're latching onto it. Let's do this.
I wonder if they designed the acoustics for the building with that in mind. That'd be something to ask a guy, say Triple H.
Yeah.
Well, we go from this, and I'm just gonna say, Nikki Cross says she knows, and then they kind of end it.
Yeah.
And then we're going from this into a match.
Yes.
The only other match on the card other than the main event.
2 matches.
But it is Keith Lee and Kona Reeves. And before you scoff at Kona Reeves, this man came out and he put on a really good match, fairly short, but really good match with Keith Lee. And this is a different Kona Reeves than I have seen in the past several months. Now, you are new to Kona Reeves.
Yeah, this was my first Kona Reeves match, so I didn't really have much to base it on, but by God, did he do a good job.
But he didn't do good enough.
Nope.
This was a pretty... There was a couple of good spots. There was Lee with a belly-to-belly throw over the top rope, took Kona Reeves to the outside. And this is where Kona Reeves turned around in the match for me. Because this pissed off Kona Reeves.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's Hawaiian, correct?
Yes, he's Hawaiian.
He more or less landed. He could have landed right on his head. He got up, went back in, and delivered one of the best Yakuza kicks, or the running Yakuza kick things that I've seen in ages. The impact on this thing on Keith Lee was just astounding. The fire that Kona Reeves was showing, it was legit. It was really, really great to actually see him just come unhinged like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he follows that up with a falling elbow drop, falling from reverse elbow drop from the second turnbuckle.
Yep.
Onto Keith, and then he gets Keith into a sitting position and then starts just trying to pound on him, and eventually. The punches to the head stop working, and they start pissing Keith Lee off, who then he basically takes the rest of the match.
Yeah, well, Keith Lee got that. He got what I like to call the Popeye stop serving mac and cheese look that I used to give. Very, very angry. Very, very just. It's like no. No.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the match, we were talking about this. He, as horrible as it sounded, he looked like a Black Samoa Joe because he had that smirk, like he was already had Kona beat in his head, and he's just like, I might as well just, this is over, this is done. I don't think he was expecting Kona to put up as much of a fight as he did.
I wasn't expecting Kona to put up as much of a fight as he did, honestly.
I'd never seen Kona in a match, and I thought he was going to automatically get squashed.
Kona has basically been given, for the most part, in the several months that I've watched, he's been given jobber talent.
Yeah.
And so he's not only looked good by comparison, but not necessarily great. Because it's hard to look great in comparison to a jobber unless you look impressive, like you're huge, like Braun Strowman or somebody.
Yeah.
Or in NXT, maybe Lars Sullivan. But Kona Reeves actually looked impressive here because he wasn't looking, I think you used the word flamboyant, but he wasn't looking as cocky and assured like the poses. His one pose though looks like that long distance ski jump. Looks like he's just trying to will himself forward with his pose. It's weird looking.
It's like he was trying all sorts of different ones just to see what felt right, and it looked kind of awkward. But they did the ski jump thing. It looked like it kind of worked. Who knows?
Well, he lost his cockiness after Keith Lee nearly ended his career by doing a belly to belly over the top rope. That was a brutal looking fall. It didn't. The landing didn't look as bad as it could have.
Yeah.
But just how dangerous that was. That was a perfect setup move for Kona to turn his character around, and suddenly he's not cocky and he's not going to go in there and pose. He's pissed off and he's going to go in there and try and win this match.
Yeah.
And he looked like an actual opponent for Keith Lee, whereas I didn't think it was going to look this good.
So Keith starts rallying back and nails him with pretty much a pounce going off the rope.
Well, before that, Kona is coming off the ropes, and Keith Lee is he's doing the acrobats that only smaller guys normally do. Ducking under the running opponent and then leaping over, leapfrog over.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he hits the pounce, and he follows up the pounce with this fireman's carry into a jackhammer, which he calls the supernova.
Yes,
and that was
that was the end of it.
As if the pounce from a guy that big wasn't enough, he hits this move and he wins. Good match. It was relatively short, but for their first outing and based off of this match, I hope there's more outings. For their first outing, I liked it.
I think that's the important thing, is the fact that, yes, it got Keith Lee over. It was a great match, but also it wasn't a squash either. Because, like you said, after Kona got dumped to the outside ring, he came back in. He started really unleashing a repertoire on Keith Lee, and I think we're actually going to see more of the vicious side coming out of Kona in the next couple of weeks. And
I don't see Kona winning by his traditional means, because I don't see him putting on the Hawaiian drop on Keith Lee. I just for the life of me, I don't see it happening.
You were saying that when the match got made was the fact that it's he's not going to get him up on his shoulders.
I mean, maybe I'm underestimating. Maybe they'll figure it out. That would be cool. That would be a cool spot. I'm betting Keith Lee kicks out of it, but
that'd be something else. Is maybe they haven't maybe unleash a new finisher with this new persona that he's kind of doing, because we're going to start seeing a lot of those kind of things these days. It's once you change from either heel to face, or once you change characters, usually there's a new move that gets introduced in some way, shape, or form. So
I'm all for new moves.
Yeah.
I don't understand why wrestlers don't add more new moves. There's tons of moves out there, and you don't have to duplicate.
I didn't get to watch the programs, but I heard John Cena added a sixth one.
It's just it's a fucking punch, man. It's a pose like this sort of. Like, it's a pose and then a punch to like a back fist to the jaw, and it's really lame.
So more or less a standing 5-knuckle shuffle.
It's actually more lame than what they've turned the AA into. The FU, I call it the FU.
Yeah,
it's the FU, man. PG era turned it into the AA, but anyway, it's somehow it's lamer than what they've turned the AA into.
Good Lord.
So
next.
Yeah.
Next.
So next we have a video package with Shayna Baszler. Basically, the video part of it was, you know, her being interviewed or just speaking to the camera, not really being interviewed, and then video clips of her in that training center, that fighting training center that we were talking about last week. And she's saying here that the only reason she lost her title was not because Kairi Sane was good enough to beat her. Kairi Sane doesn't deserve credit for the win. It was Baszler who got too cocky and she thought she had the win because she thought she had the Baszler lock or whatever she calls it locked on, and then Kairi Sane just got lucky because she took her too lightly.
Yeah, she says the word that she says phrase that she slipped up. Simple as that. Like don't ever. She's pretty much telling the NXT crowd or any naysayers or anything, don't ever say that Kairi Sane is better than me. Like there's no way that she is better. I messed up. I'm taking credit for my own mistakes here. Kairi just took advantage of me not like paying full attention, and just have my mind elsewhere. Simple as that.
Well, she drops an interesting statistic here that she is the quickest NXT, I guess,
she has had the quickest rise
to make it to the championship.
Yeah.
I guess that includes everybody. And what I noticed here is that Baszler's video package was amazing. Again, 2 weeks in a row for her to have an amazing video package.
Mm-hmm.
And then right following this video package was an interview with Kairi Sane, I guess outside, by reporters or something. There was one microphone and 2 cell phones.
They're doing a lot of the TMZ type interviews now with these wrestlers. They just run up with their camera phones and microphones.
And it was short, and it was nothing. They just, they asked her, and she's like, about the match, I guess, and she's like, Baszler knows what I know, that I'll beat her again, and that's it.
Well, even then, I kind of tuned, I'm not even going to say I even listened to the whole thing. I tuned out, because at one point she said, yo-ho, in the middle of she actually went into pirate mode. In the middle of the area. She's not even dressed for the part or anything.
I'm telling you,
dude,
that gimmick is going to be the death of her. If she makes it to the main roster with that pirate gimmick, Vince is going to bury her.
Yeah.
He is going to bury her.
It doesn't work for her.
Well, this is brilliant. It's 2 different kinds of promos, and they put them back to back. So instead of necessarily hyping the match all at once, they're doing it separately while at the same time hyping each individual opponent, but more so Baszler than Kairi Sane.
Oh yeah,
sure.
You've got the ultra serious Baszler, and then you've got Kairi Sane not taking Baszler seriously.
Absolutely. It doesn't look like Kairi Sane takes anything seriously. Why she is a champ is beyond me.
I was about to say, so the roles have kind of reversed in that way, if you think about it. So, well, it's already gonna be a classic match between the two. Granted, it's gonna be a comedy routine for a little bit with Kairi involved, but I see her possibly showing a little more seriousness when the actual match occurs.
I think the only comedy is going to be, like you said, her little mannerisms and her taunts before each move, like where she walks the plank or whatever. And
but that's
gazes over the crowd.
That's the problem. Like,
takes out her periscope.
But I think that's what they're going to play up a lot, is the fact that Shayna's going to be seeing this kind of stuff coming because, like, she telegraphs
So
many of her moves with these mannerisms.
They spent money on fake pirate gold for her entrance. They spent money on fake pirate gold for her entrance. Man, I really, really hope those are candy. You know, the wrapped candies. And then she's passing out chocolate to kids in the crowd. Because that
actually make a really cool gimmick, I think.
Well, you know, it'd be better than spending real money on fake pirate gold for her entrance. If you're going to do that, have pirate gold kind of like coming down, cascading down and raining down in the graphic on the Tron behind her.
Oh, that'd be really
do that. Cool. That's free. Well, probably not free. You got to pay somebody to do it. But after that, it's free because she's passing out the pirate gold. You got to keep replacing that shit. So next, we have an interview backstage with William Regal, where the interview smartly recaps what happened earlier between Ciampa and Velveteen Dream in the question about, hey, let us know what's going on with the case. What's going on with your investigation into who attacked Aleister Black?
What I really liked about this is the fact that none of this stuff was mentioned last week. Granted, there's a lot more matches going on, and more hype for this coming show
and next week's show. Next week should be a great show as
well.
Next
week is but
we will get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a little while too.
Well, actually next, but we've got some stuff to cover here.
Yeah, but we didn't hear anything about the investigation this last week, so the fact that it was still, it's like now they're revisiting a little bit, gives you a little bit of time to digest, gives you more time to wonder who attacked Aleister Black.
Well,
what's going on?
It gave Regal 2 weeks to realize that Nikki Cross was telling him that she knows. Yeah. So that's basically what he talks about. That he's not going to release his list of suspects that are still on the list, and he, I guess, needs to talk to Nikki Cross or somehow figure out how to decipher what she's saying, or give her a reason to tell him. But either way, he ends up face to face with Cassius Ohno, who's standing at his door.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God he's on the outside of the office and not inside like Nikki Cross was. But Ohno.
Oh, pretty much Ohno's playing his usual self. Even when he was Chris Hero, he's had this massive chip on his shoulder. So he's wondering, he keeps on referring to this golden boy. And the fact
we all know who the golden boy is.
Yes.
But his new toy,
his new toy, yeah.
Regal's, to clarify, Regal's new toy.
Yeah. And yeah, he's wanting more attention and more put back into him, and Regal is just saying, I don't have time for this crap.
Well, he basically
I have an investigation.
He says Regal is blind.
Yeah.
Regal doesn't see that Cassius is going to make a name for himself one way or the other, and his way is to take out the new blood.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're talking about, what's his name?
Oh.
Shit. It's back here in my notes somewhere. Oh. Well, we're just going to skip over that.
Yeah.
So, it's that guy. That guy. So, that's all that is.
After that, Regal pretty much walks into the office, and who has appeared right after Regal goes into the office? Nikki Cross. And she starts talking to Cassius Ohno, and
sniffing him or something.
Sniffing him, and even then she's saying that she knows.
Yeah, she tells Cassius Ohno the same thing that she told Ciampa. She says, "I know what you did."
Yeah.
And which is weird because earlier while Cassius was talking to Regal basically reiterated, because that's what he keeps thinking, that Cassius wants to talk to him because Cassius is worried about being fingered as the guy that took out Aleister Black. And Regal's like, no, man, I already know that you didn't do it. You're not on my list of suspects. And Cassius is like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here because, what's his name? Because that guy that's coming in. This is really terrible. I should really know that name.
That's all right.
I'm going to keep looking for it. By the way, next up was next week. Next week we have
the
Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders.
That's gonna be an awesome match too. Tag belts on the line. Great video package, like with just both teams just burying each other. You have the Undisputed Era more or less questioning the whole Viking look that these guys have and everything, and pretty much the War Raiders pretty much is still in Viking mode, saying they're going to destroy the Undisputed Era before it really even starts.
Yeah, they take it all the way back to NXT TakeOver Chicago 4, where the War Raiders basically they jumped in the ring at the end of the tag team match with who was it? Was it Mustache? No. Yeah, it was Mustache Mountain.
Yeah,
or Undisputed Era defeated Mustache Mountain,
mm-hmm.
and the War Raiders jumped in, and so that's where they take the feud back to. And it was a pretty good video package. It looks like to us that they're setting up for the War Raiders to side with Ricochet.
Yeah.
And this is going to lead into War Games. So
yeah.
This will be one of the teams. You'll have the Undisputed Era, you'll have Cole, Fish, and Bobby.
Yep.
And you'll have the War Raiders with Ricochet.
Yep.
We're not sure yet is who the third team is going to be. Is it going to be Pete Dunne with Mustache Mountain, or is it going to be like the Forgotten Sons? Could be the Forgotten Sons.
We actually did think maybe Forgotten Sons would actually be, thrown into the mix and possibly make Jackson Riker contender for the
North American Championship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was our idea, is that if they did that, no matter who it was as the third team, whether it be Pete Dunne and the Mustache Mountain, or whether it be the Forgotten Sons, you could have all or both titles on the line: the NXT North American Championship and the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Yep.
And whichever team wins War Games wins
all the gold.
Yeah, all the gold. So we thought that would be a great idea.
To the victors go the spoils.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Next week we were also going to see Nikki Cross finally have her rematch with Bianca Belair, and that is hopefully based on the way they've been promoting this match. It looks like it's going to be Bianca Belair at her best.
Yeah,
because she's determined to win that match
and stay undefeated. It's almost like she tries to start the chant, even though she's supposed to be in heel mode at this point, but it's just not catching on. It's not Kurt Angle's "You suck." Okay?
I believe inside Full Sail they'll give her some love on that chant, but not as much as they'll do the EST.
Yeah. So now we're going into the epicenter here. This triple threat match that we've been obsessing over.
At this point in the show, we pause the match at the bell.
Yes.
To begin the match, and there is 20 minutes left. So we know this is going to be a 19 or 20 minute match. Yeah, it was actually exactly 20 minutes after, right as soon as the last bell rang, I paused it, and it had gone from 21 to 20. So it was right at 20 minutes. And absolutely worthy of 20 minutes. Probably 30 or 40 at an NXT TakeOver. This match was fun as fuck.
Yes. Not even 5 minutes into the matches. Here's what we see. Not even 5 minutes in. Alright. Starts off with what looks to be is going to be a triple tie-up. But then attention automatically goes to beating the shit out of Adam Cole.
Yeah, so they go to lock up in a three-way lockup, a three-way collar and elbow, which I would love to see done successfully. I'm sure it has been. Maybe I should look that up. But Adam Cole kind of ducks out of that, and then typical. Okay, the two faces kind of look at each other and look at Adam Cole, and then like now they're going to beat up on Adam Cole. So they do together, but then I think it was Ricochet started beating up Adam Cole by himself, and then Pete Dunne throws Ricochet off, and then they start a face-off, and Cole's just like, yeah, y'all too, and then so this match started out sort of typically with a little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
But then Ricochet just goes off like a fucking Super Bowl. We counted 6 flips.
6.
In maybe like 10 or 15 seconds. 6 flips. He's got the third flip with a kip up. Like he does, a flip over the back while running. Like he does a kip up. And then he does a drop kick flip. And then 5 and 6 is going towards Pete Dunne, who's on the apron at the ropes. He does that front flip spring off the ropes, back out into a backflip to land in the superhero landing, as you deemed it.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the first couple of minutes of this match, you're already like, wow, this is going to be a hell of a match. Because that's what they're starting off at. And they really don't have a lot of downtime during this match. Because this is NXT. There's no commercials.
No, there isn't. Like, what? There's no... It's like, oh, this person's in control. Will they stay in control? We're going to keep on the action.
We'll be right back. And then when you come back, the other person's in control. And you're like, what did I miss? And they're like, here's where the other person took control. And then they do picture-in-picture. Which, by the way, on NXT, there is no box inside of a box. Picture-in-picture. Take what's going on and move it over here to show you a replay. There's no instant replay, because if there's an instant replay, you're bound to fucking miss something. Because there's no commercials, there's no downtime.
All you'd be doing, theoretically, is showing something somebody's already seen, while something else amazing is going on here. It's going to go into the box down there anyway. It's pretty much watching the same match twice.
So right after Ricochet goes off like a bouncy ball, Cole throws him out of the ring, and then we get a face-off between Cole and Dunne.
Yes. And Adam Cole just gets rocked.
Yeah.
Well, I'd call the T-Rex clothesline. This is a short-arm clothesline, but it is a vicious one.
Yeah, Pete Dunne runs into a short-arm clothesline, and you just hear the slap. And that is, at this point, I think it's one of the first or second of these hard hits that Pete Dunne does. And I don't know if he's slapping his thigh or what, but they just they just sound incredible, and it echoes.
They reverberate like.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Reverberate.
Reverberate. But these, and you would think that eventually it would get old cringing to the sound of that slap, because they are perfectly timed. And no, it doesn't get old, because you cringe every time. Every time he does an enziguri and slap kicks dude in the face. Jeez.
You automatically make the yeesh face, or you want to go woo with the rest of the crowd.
So this is like part 1 of Pete Dunne's master plan. He starts working over Cole with these kicks, but he starts working over Ricochet with his left arm, mind you, with the small joint manipulation. Yep. He goes for it. But then we end up with about 30 seconds of chain wrestling, where both Ricochet and Pete Dunne are just dodging everything that the other one's trying to do. And this is like the first 3 minutes of the match.
Yes, we're not even 5 minutes into the match yet. It's already like surpassing a lot of what people thought it was going to be.
I don't know what people thought this was going to be. This is surpassing anything that you're likely to see on Raw or SmackDown.
Less than 5 minutes of wrestling, we've already seen like things people can't even pull off in won't even try to pull off in 30, and it only got better from here. Even then that seemed like it'd be a wind down.
Yeah, from here Cole gets back in the ring, and we see basically our first double team. We see Dunne putting a surfboard stretch onto Adam Cole.
Yep.
And then Ricochet comes off the ropes and just basement drop kicks him in the face.
Right side face.
And he made the comment, he's like, there's nothing that Adam Cole can do about that. I'm like, dude, no. You have to completely trust Ricochet. And if he slips while he's doing that basement drop kick, you're gonna catch his foot to your face.
Yep.
But it looked brilliant. It looked perfectly done. And I say that word perfectly done because when we get to the end of this match, well, let's get to the end of this match.
Let's do that first. So
out of this, because Dunn releases the surfboard like Daniel Bryan does, where he jumps up and stomps.
He does the double knee stomp, more or less, and he looks over at Ricochet, more or less, and Ricochet looks on at Dunn in approval.
Yeah, we just
we really got him with that
guy. And Ricochet goes for a handshake like a dumbass, and Pete Dunne just cracks him in the face with a forearm.
It gives a sorry, not sorry look from hell.
Now, what I thought about was interesting here was that Cole's right knee is where they went. Now, and if anybody follows it like we do,
yep.
When somebody gets injured in WWE, it's the left arm or the left leg. Why did they go to Cole's right leg? Maybe Cole actually has something going on.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting to note. Because anytime that they go to a right leg for an injury that they're working on,
yeah,
it's odd. It's noteworthy to me. Yeah. So now we have the real meat of the small joint manipulation from Dunn onto Ricochet, and Ricochet counters that into what I want to call a cloverleaf sunrise.
And I want to call it the tequila cloverleaf.
The tequila cloverleaf. That does roll off the tongue better.
Yes.
But basically, he starts out with a tequila sunrise with the arm through his leg, but instead of going for one leg, he wraps the legs into a cloverleaf and comes through and cinches back. He goes for a lion salt later, and I don't know if you guys remember from NXT TakeOver Chicago 4 when he went for this lion salt to a standing opponent, and I think it was Adam Cole that super kicked him in the face.
Yes.
In this case, frickin' both Adam Cole and Pete Dunne, they were kind of like short-legged super kicks, but they both kicked Ricochet in the face, and that was a... How do you top the original? Oh, you just have him take 2 super kicks at once, and then all 3 men were fucking down.
Yep.
But this is actually getting a little ahead.
I was about to say, we that's a little further into the match. We're still not even, I don't even think 4 minutes into this match.
Yeah, that's how much, I have over 2 pages of notes on this match, and I was going sparingly.
And then we have what I call the Owens-Seguri, because nobody, in my opinion, delivered an Enziguri quite like Owen Hart, but the Enziguri that Pete Dunne, nailed, the impact and everything was just beautiful on it. So,
well, we had Adam Cole hit a V trigger onto Pete Dunne.
Yeah,
and then off of the V trigger, he gets a near fall. I think he gets a near fall.
Yeah,
but then Ricochet comes in.
The first near fall of the match.
Ricochet comes in and he gets Cole down while Dunne is on the outside. And in just one fluid, single chain wrestling, he goes after Cole, but then he goes to the outside, runs the apron up to the second turnbuckle, does a moonsault onto Pete Dunne on the outside.
Yeah. And
then jumps back in, goes to the top rope, and goes for, what did he hit?
It was a moonsault, wasn't it?
That was it. A springboard. Oh, he gets a springboard European uppercut.
Oh, that's right.
Adam Cole for a near fall.
Because I had made mention that he pretty much made it 3/4 away across the ring with that. It was some great extension. Just beautifully.
It was basically a phenomenal forearm, but finished with like Cesaro would do it. With a European uppercut, and then Dunne we've got everybody back in the ring. Dunne stacks up both Cole and Ricochet on top of each other and gets them both into a half crab.
Yeah.
This was
a double single leg crab.
A double single leg, as you coined it. A double single leg crab. And then Ricochet kind of gets out of that, and Dunne's got Cole in it. But then Ricochet takes Dunne into an octopus stretch out of that single leg crab.
Yes. like you don't really. I haven't really seen many abdominal stretches or anything like that in these matches or any match so far. So seeing the octopus stretch, even that was a treat.
Well, we're not done there.
No,
because then Cole comes around and does a backstabber onto Ricochet.
Yep.
For a near fall.
I was about to say, I still call it the lung blower, but yeah, the backstabber from Cole and the near fall, like, granted, you knew the match wasn't going to end right there because there's so much. It's like we're already squeezing not even 10 minutes into this match, and
yeah, we're not even 10 minutes.
We're not even 10
I will
minutes.
let you know when we're 10 minutes into this match because
Yeah,
we're already
we've
50 minutes into this video, so that's great.
Well, we've actually we actually paused paused it at one point just to see where we were at a couple times. It's like
Paused, rewound. We backed it up to watch spots several times.
Well,
man,
it's not even that. It's the fact that like we couldn't believe that it's like okay, we're not even 10 minutes into this match yet, and this is what we've seen.
Yeah, and this is where, as you said, it devolves back.
Yes.
And we have a triangle stance of all three guys slugging it out.
Yeah, they start on their knees, just slapping, punch each other, just rising up, like just punching and slapping and throwing whatever they can at each other. And it went from like being one of the most scientific high-flying matches to just like a slugfest.
Now, I think
a few seconds
I think somebody hit Ricochet too hard, or maybe they hit Pete Dunne too hard, because there was. It seemed like maybe a botch, maybe the only real looking. It's hard to tell. So you've got Adam Cole in the corner, and Ricochet runs in, and Cole dodges out of the corner. So Ricochet jumps to the second turnbuckle, and then he goes like he's gonna jump back to attack Cole, but then holds on. But he holds on a little long, and then suddenly Dunn comes in and hits Cole from the side or the back with a forearm.
Yeah.
And it's like, was Dunn like not quick enough on the draw? Was he supposed to hit that sooner? Was something supposed to happen that didn't? I'm not really sure. This looked really awkward.
Yeah. It's like that. I think that's one of the only parts of the match that didn't really go as expected. It was still a nice little cleanup job, or they tried to, fix everything right then and there, but there was that sense of awkwardness.
Yeah, just a sense, just for about a half a second of awkwardness, like, oh wait, what? Oh, okay, and then Pete Dunne hits him with the forearm.
Yeah, even then we're like, we can't even be mad.
Yeah, just keep going. Just keep going. And this is the part where Ricochet goes for that lion salt onto a standing. I believe he was going to try and hit Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
And then Dunne and Cole both just clock him with those short-legged super kicks.
Yeah.
Now, I was like, that's just like what they did at Chicago. And then suddenly Mauro Ranallo was like, oh, that's reminiscent of TakeOver Chicago 4. And I'm like, you're on the uptake there, Ranallo. Yep. I hit that first. Anyway... So Dunn goes for a pin at the same time as Cole, because these guys are all down, and this is their down spot in the match where they're catching their breath. Because in between, I think they're only catching their breath a single guy at a time.
Yeah.
And Dunn goes for a pin. Cole goes for a pin. One of those roll over, throw your arm over, both onto Ricochet, but Ricochet just rolls out of the ring.
Yep.
I missed it. I'm sitting here taking notes. I'm like, what happened? He's busted out laughing. He's laughing. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I back it up, and I'm like, that's just... So this is heat. Now, new chapter in the match. Suddenly there's new heat between Pete Dunne and Adam Cole, because each one of them's just like, that was my pin. And I'm like, that was nobody's pin. He rolled out of the fucking ring. But...
All right, I'm going to back it up a little bit, because I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Like, he's been taking notes this entire time for his match. And after a while, he got tired of writing Ricochet over and over and over again. So he basically wrote down Rickrolled.
Yeah. I Rickrolled myself in my notes. I was reading it in my head, and I was like, Rick rolls, and I was laughing. He's like, what? What's so funny? And I'm like, pause. So while it's paused and I'm explaining Rickroll, somehow we get into the conversation. I look at the screen and we're 10 minutes in. We are halfway through this match, and now I'm pissed because this sumbitch suddenly he's like, well, you know, we do have that in a couple of months. We've got that NXT Takeover War Games. Like, what if this match just doesn't have a definitive ending, and we have all of those teams? Combatants. You have the Undisputed Era come out. You have War Raiders come out. And you have Mustache Mountain come out, and they all just start into this brawl where the ref, even though this is a triple threat, so it's no disqualification, the ref just throws it out in a no contest. And I'm like, fuck that. After the amazing match we got 2 weeks ago that didn't have a definitive ending, this sumbitch better have a definitive ending. We are halfway through, and we get to see Dunn go outside with Adam Cole and do one of those small joint manipulation stomps where he stomps on Cole's elbow while his arm's like this on the steps.
Yes.
This match went everywhere. Like, it really showed and highlighted the strengths of everybody and made them not only look good but look brutal.
Yes.
And that was one of the spots that's
something that's always like been weird with me. Yeah, I like the aerial things that like some of these guys are able to do, but at the same time, when there's like little to no impact to them, or if it's just more flash and it's like,
yeah,
what it doesn't.
Like, I think Neville's finishing move, what is it, the red arrow?
Yeah,
like it's all flash. It is exactly the same amount of impact as just a 450 splash. It's just got extra flash. So
I like my high impact or my high flying moves with a little more impact. And we saw a lot of impact.
Yeah, speaking of high flying moves though, because Pete Dunne, yeah, he does the small joint manipulation. He does ground and pound. He does submission. He also does high flying moves. We had Ricochet come off the apron with an Asai moonsault onto Cole.
Yep.
But then Dunn goes to the second turnbuckle over on the side and does a moonsault on... Cole hits a super kick.
Yeah, Cole hit the super kick on the outside.
No, Ricochet missed the outside moonsault. I'm sorry. That is my bad.
Yeah, he actually lands on his feet only to get...
Super kick,
but at the same time, Cole almost missed that super kick. Like, it caught him, like, more on the side of the neck. Like, caught Ricochet more on the side of the neck and the side of the head than anything.
Well, I'm glad you saw that, because I was encompassed, because right after that,
Dunn
goes, he goes to the second turnbuckle and moonsaults to the outside onto Adam Cole. But then, instead of picking up Cole, he picks up Ricochet, because he just got super kicked, and apparently not all that great, but whatever.
Yeah.
He throws Ricochet in the ring and gives him the X-Plex into a powerbomb, and it was kind of dirty looking. I wouldn't call it a botch, but it was dirty looking. It looked like he didn't get all of it, which is fine, because he didn't get the pin, because Cole comes in to break it up.
It was a quick setup. It was quickly executed. It was very crude looking. It wasn't high impact, but it was enough that it left me a little bit dizzy. I'm like, what just happened here?
And this is where the crowd breaks into Fight Forever.
Yes.
Fight Forever. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes overdue, but finally the crowd chants Fight Forever, and we look at each other and we're like, yeah, fucking Fight Forever, man. God damn. So we get Pete Dunne go up to the turnbuckle, and then Cole follows him up. And it looks like we're about to get a good high spot.
Like a big old Tower of Doom thing, yes.
But instead, we have Ricochet go up the turnbuckle from the inside of the ring and join both of them. And I think it was the match 2 weeks ago where he did the top rope Frankensteiner. The top of the top rope where both opponents are standing up on the top rope.
That was him versus Dunn.
Ricochet Frankenstein's both of these fuckers off of the top rope, all of them standing, and it was awesome.
It was incredible. It wasn't expected in any way, shape, or form.
Not at this point. At this point, they didn't need that spot, but
no.
Wow.
That it could have gone wrong, but God, did it go right. It was a big payoff for a big move, and it was just spectacular to watch.
So, at this point, I get Ricochet goes for a reverse Hurricane Rana onto Dunn. It's not the smoothest. He has to grab. He literally grabs the best of it. Hair. He grabs him by the hair to get this move to look right, to look like it could actually happen. And it's not just Dunn falling into nothing, and he jumps into a flatliner for a near fall, no fall. I was actually expecting somebody to break up this fall, but no, it was a kick out.
Yeah.
And so then Ricochet decides to go to the top rope for a 720. And that's where we see Cole finally get up, kicks him off the top rope. And then Dunn hits a bitter end on Cole. And then Ricochet hits a shooting star press into the triangle lock onto Dunn.
Yeah,
this match just keeps going like this.
I was about to say, like, the shooting star from Ricochet is always spot on anyway. It looks beautiful. Like, he caught so much mad air on it, and Dunn just cinches in with this triangle hold without even missing a beat.
No,
it just latches right on like a Venus flytrap, just boom.
Well, as smooth as the sequence was, my only criticism is that when he leapt off for that 450, he did not have a clear landing across Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne was set up like the Dudleys would set somebody up for that headbutt into the crotch from the top rope.
The what's up?
And I'm like, you're not doing the 5-star frog splash. You're not going to twist in midair while you're doing the 450 flip.
No.
Not likely, anyway.
No.
And we're sure of that because it was hard enough for... Well, we'll get to the end of the match.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm a little frustrated by the end of the match. But this match was just amazing from beginning to end. And at some point, you're like... These dudes are going to run out of steam.
I'm about to say, it didn't slow down. It's like Barney's mixtape. It just went from, like, it started off hard, and then it kept on escalating.
And every time they put on a hold, it's not for very long, because this triangle hold immediately goes into Ricochet trying to pick Dunn up for a short arm power, or a single arm power bomb. And then Dunn goes back to the left arm and those fingers.
Yes.
And he snaps. And I don't know how he makes that snap sound, but he snaps Ricochet's fingers.
And like, at the same time, you have, like, Dunn's eyes, he's just completely gone at that point. And then all of a sudden, out of the frame, comes Cole
with a super kick to Dunn.
Yep.
And then a last shot knee to Ricochet takes him out of the ring.
Yep.
And then he takes a brain buster into a neck breaker over his left knee, which I guess is a good thing because his right knee's all fucked up.
Yep.
But that's only a near fall. He goes for the pin. Dunn kicks out.
That actually surprised me because that could have been the finish right there for me.
Yeah, that's where they teased that Adam Cole could have won the match, maybe, but not really because Dunn kicked out. It's not like Ricochet. If you're going to tease that, really, you're going to have Ricochet just break up the pinfall. Maybe pull Cole off of the pin.
That would be the standard way of the WWE doing it, but this is also NXT.
But the problem with that is you tip your hat as the fact that Ricochet is back up because you want to save him for the end, and we've come to the end where Pete Dunne hits a bitter end on Adam Cole, and he goes for the pin, and while he's going for a pin where he's supine, he's on his back, Ricochet comes from the corner where you can't see him in the camera angle, does a springboard 450 where he doesn't go forward. He has to go from, let's say, one tag team's ring post to the other, that direction across the ring.
It was more diagonal than anything else.
And he doesn't hit Dunn square at all. More like he hits him across the thighs, and maybe he hits him in the balls.
It actually looked like he hit more knees, like before he even hit like
And you know that spot where Michael Cole or Tom Phillips or Corey Graves or somebody says, well, it doesn't look like he got all of that. It did not look like that Ricochet got all of that 450, but they replayed it like 3 times because he got the pin. He got the pin out of this. Somebody was out of position. Either Ricochet was not in the right corner to do it, but he didn't have time to get there, or they didn't do the pin in the proper location that Ricochet knew that he was supposed to be till he looked up and saw he wasn't where he needed to be.
This is where I got torn on the match. Not like, when it comes to my review for the match, it's going to play heavily into it. Is the fact that I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, that was just a sloppy finish to
it would have been
a perfect match.
It would have been fine if they hadn't set up the finish the way they did, because Ricochet did not have enough time to get to a position on the ring apron to do that so that it could land and look good, because it was in the middle of a 3 count for a pin. And it should have been, and I'm telling you now, that should have been a 3 count, because, what'd you call him, Drake?
Yeah.
Drake, I wrote the notes down here.
Drake Wirtz.
Drake Wirtz, or Drake Younger.
Yep.
That's the name of that jacked looking ref, the guy that
if you ever get a chance to watch some of his older matches,
apparently he's a retired wrestler, and
he's a good hybrid. He does the hardcore stuff, he does the specialty stuff, he does the submission stuff. He's awesome.
He cuts the 3 count and stops well before. Because they show it in slow-mo. Why replay it in slow-mo when it shows that it should have been a 3 count?
That's the thing. This whole time I'm watching this one cameraman who's taking all this stuff in. It's like, A, he watches Ricochet not land the whole move. B, he catches it before then. He catches Drake's hand pretty much more or less stopping before the move even comes into play. Almost like Drake just stops like, well, would you look at that?
The only saving grace here that you can say maybe is the reason he didn't count the 3 is because Pete Dunne seems to roll off of Adam Cole just before the 3 count. But the only reason he's rolling is so that he can get in position to catch Ricochet, who's not going to land in position because somebody is out of position. Now, this seems like an awfully small thing to nitpick at, because it is one spot. It is the end of the match. There were a few blunders, if not botch, because of the corner thing where it looked like it took somebody too long to do something. This was still a great match.
Yeah, for top to bottom, it was like a phenomenal match. Great spots and everything. Just poor placement on a couple different areas.
Yeah.
But it was just brilliantly executed and it was definitely worth the wait. It was definitely worth the hype.
It had a definitive ending?
It had a definitive ending. Not the one I was actually hoping for, but...
Yeah, we predicted, of course, the show airs at 8. We actually don't get off work until 11 o'clock on Eastern Time. So we know it's already aired, but we don't watch it. So he predicted Adam Cole to take the title. I just said Ricochet's not losing it here.
Because like we're getting back to the War Games talk. Because I would have loved to see the Undisputed Era walk in with the North American title and the tag titles.
That's true.
And then that way, like they'd
but
have
there's
all
still
3
time
belts.
to do that.
And there's still plenty of time to get that.
But we both agreed that the likelihood of Pete Dunne walking out with 2 champions was the slimmest of likelihoods.
Yeah, like basically Pete Dunne walked into the match with all of his submission skills and all of his grappling,
but he also walked into the match with
complete underdog. Like he walked in there as the not favorite of the match.
Well, I don't know about that, but I would say he walked in there with the UK Championship, and that's the problem. But I don't think that. I think that makes him, if anything, he's certainly going to be walking out of the match with the title, whether it's 2 titles or just 1. He's the only guy that goes into the match knowing that he's going to still have a title at the end of this match.
Oh,
so
like I was about to say, he really didn't have anything to lose in the match as much as he just had another belt to gain.
Well, technically, Adam Cole didn't have anything to lose either, but the only man that did not, and like I called it, Ricochet retained. Still a great match. I had a huge problem with the finish, just in the way it was executed, just like, because it's the finish, that's why it's such a problem for me. If that had been a move where Pete Dunne kicked out and then something else happened, I'd have been fine with it. But that was not a move to finish a match like that.
Yeah.
When Pete Dunne had already kicked out of that, what was it? It's a fireman. No, it was the brainbuster into the neck breaker over Adam Cole's left knee. Like, if he kicked out of that, then he should have kicked out of that sloppy 450.
Well, actually, like, CM Punk back when he was on the independent circuit, he actually did a move, or he still kind of does a move reminiscent of it back when he was in WWE as well, but it was called the Welcome to Chicago, motherfucker. Nice. That's what you call it. It's pretty much like the, not really the stalling brainbuster type, but was kind of a snap suplex type maneuver into a neck breaker over the knee.
Welcome to Chicago, motherfucker.
Yes.
Well, welcome to What's NXT, motherfucker. On that note, out of the General's 5 stars, because this is our thing, we're not going to rate the show, we're just going to rate the main event.
Yes.
Because shows can be mixed bags, but I believe that NXT does the main event right, at the very least, every episode, and it's worth rating.
That's the thing also, is the fact that, they put matches on the card, but the way they stack the card is beautifully done. They'll actually have like a great mid-card match. They'll have a great warm-up match, and they'll have
last week, they'll have a great starter match with that Lacey Evans and LeRae.
Yeah,
Candice.
And it'll just keep on building from there. So with this main event, granted, it had every makings of a 5-star match. The 5-star matches these days are extremely hard to come by.
The blueprint of that match was a 5-star match.
Yes.
Execution-wise is what we got to see tonight on NXT television.
Yeah. Based
on execution, out of the General's 5 stars, where does Jerry Slaughter rate this match?
I still give it about 4.5. Just because the finish, even like what you're talking about with the out of position and everything, there was just this one moment that felt like forever with me, where Dunn was laying supine on his back against Adam Cole, and you actually could see him looking up at Ricochet, almost like, is he gonna nail it? Do I need to scoot forward just a little bit?
Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
It kind of took me out of the match, but at the same time, I'm like, is this how it's going to end?
The simple fact that Pete Dunne should have won the match, because that should have been a 3 count.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I agree, 4.5 stars.
So it was great to have the finish. It was good to have the actual 3 count match, no interference, like no other talks of anything else.
In a triple threat match where everything goes because nobody can be disqualified, you don't see any interference. Blows my mind, but that's NXT. Oh, what's NXT?
Yeah, I was about to say, you didn't have anybody running with the belt. You didn't have anybody pull out a steel chair. This was all wrestling, and that's something else that was kind of throwing me about the match. Was the fact that you have so many triple threat matches that they evolve into something like that.
Yeah.
There's always that heel, like Adam Cole could have easily ran out of the ring, grabbed a steel chair, or had the Undisputed Era come down and help him out or something.
Much more likely, yeah.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
He was ready to just prove to the world that he was the best in the ring. And for the most part, for me, he actually did. He actually put on an extremely good match with 2 extremely, equally talented, if not just Ricochet, just a little more, but I'm pretty sure, even though he's hailed from Paducah, I'm pretty sure he's otherworldly at this point, because that boy pulls off crap that I've never seen in my entire life. But Adam is becoming more and more the next bona fide star of NXT, and this only proves it. If not the North American belt, I see him actually making a run at the actual championship sometime soon.
I don't know. I could see him getting called up before he has a chance as well.
Well, I think he'll have a short run, kind of like.
He'll be a transitional champion,
yeah,
and once he gets defeated, he'll get called up after WrestleMania.
Yes, the Monday after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. All of a sudden, like, Adam Cole will appear at the top of the stage.
Do you think it would be Adam Cole, or do you think we'd hear Shock the System and we'd have the full faction?
I think the full faction will actually stay down there. I think Bobby Fish will return, and then there's going to be...
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah,
dissension.
There's going to be dissension in the ranks at some point, and Adam Cole will probably be the one that goes, because I'm pretty sure he's going to get the one that gets called up first. Or they'll bring somebody else in to lead, kind of like they've been doing with, like, the Bullet Club.
Well,
Japan
I could see them wedging Adam Cole in and getting the ground, getting him started running on the ground, something like that.
Yeah,
there's a phrase in there I'm looking for. Let him hit the ground running.
Yes,
and then when it makes sense storyline wise, when he needs the extra help, then you completely forget the storyline from NXT where the Undisputed Eric kicks him out or turns on him or whatever, and then you bring them in.
Yes.
And suddenly he's got a faction behind him.
Yeah.
So that would make, to me, that would make just as good of a storyline if implemented as bringing them in as a whole together.
Well, I was about to say, if they did anything where all four of them are brought in together, it would be kind of like the Radicals type thing where they would just all show up together, I would think.
Just out in the crowd, sitting
yeah.
alongside.
Pretty much like either they did or like the Shield. Pretty much the Shield just kind of busted their way in
Too
as
new.
well.
I would go with the way the Radicals did. Just have them in there, just sitting. Just those guys are NXT, aren't they? Well, they bought tickets, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking Michael Cole. I guess they bought tickets. Well, so the General Slaughter gives the main event a 4.5. I agree. It was a great match. It had a fucky finish. Well, not a fucky finish. It had an funky finish.
Funky.
Where Pete Dunne should have won, and somehow Ricochet won off of a move that he shouldn't have. But still, great episode, and I look forward to the next one. Now, I want to tell everybody and remind everybody that Mr. Slaughter here does not have Twitter, and he does not have any plugs. So I would like to make a plea to you guys to leave comments down below and try and convince me, or help me convince Jerry here to get himself a Twitter just so that he can have interaction with the fans, if there are fans out there.
Yeah.
Help
somebody's watching. We're getting like 400 views, like, you know, on each of these programs.
Yeah, we've got probably a 300 or 400 person fan base. I imagine maybe some of them watch it twice just to help us.
Why?
With the views. They watch it once and then somehow they click on it again and it gives us another view because they watched 37 seconds of it. Maybe something like that. It happens to me. I end up double watching videos because YouTube does it.
Yeah.
So you can follow me at Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. Or if you just want to open your Twitter app and find me, it's Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. That's Twitter. You can also find my YouTube channel, Aftermatch Wrestling, all one word, Aftermatch.
If you also watch this main event, as we did, we're in the comment section. Which do you like better, the tequila cloverleaf?
Oh yes.
or do you like the what was it?
The cloverleaf sunrise.
The cloverleaf sunrise.
Yeah, help us. We want to name this move because we thought it was that interesting. Help us name the move. Do you prefer tequila cloverleaf or cloverleaf sunrise?
Those are both beautiful names for that move. Like Kentucky Sunset would probably work just as well too. But since after a while they're probably gonna ditch the whole fact that he's from Paducah. They'll just say it's like he hails from Kentucky.
Yeah, they'll say they'll just go to the old standard of
Louisville.
From Louisville, Kentucky. Well, for the General Jerry Slaughter, for the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, and for NoDQ.com, where you can go to find all of your latest news and rumors about wrestling. See you in NXT time.